After the school gave the guaranteed university admission spot to the person who used to bully me, I gave up on everything. Physics exam? I didn't show up. Public speaking competition? I skipped it. For the joint university entrance test among 7 schools? I turned in a blank paper. When the chairman of the school board came to inspect and asked to meet me, it meant I still had to make an appearance. So, I immediately filed a complaint, accusing the school of manipulating internal policies after the exam scores were released. I had scored 706 points, ranking first in the cohort with honors. But instead of receiving congratulations, what greeted me were mocking glances from classmates. A teacher withheld my university recommendation letter and called me into the office. Alongside me was Phuong Phi Vu, the vice principal's daughter. When she saw me, she shot me a provocative look. The heater was on in the office. After we both sat down, the homeroom teacher got straight to the point. The list for guaranteed admissions is out. His eyes scanned over us both before smiling and reaching out to shake Phuong Phi Vu's hand. Congratulations. I waited quietly for him to finish before asking, "What about me, sir?" His smile froze. "Luke Tien Tien, I called you here to have a chat. We know you've studied hard these past 3 years and brought pride to the school, but you've already got a bright future ahead." As for Phuong Phi Vu, I interrupted, her accomplishments consist of bullying classmates and abusing her status. Phuong Phi Vu shouted, "Luke Tien Tien. What nonsense are you spouting? Didn't I teach you a lesson last time?" I shot her a cold glance. The lesson she mentioned was her locking me in the bathroom, releasing rats and insects into my desk, and even stealing my books to throw them in the trash. The homeroom teacher knew all this. I pointed at her arrogant expression, "And you still gave her the guaranteed spot?" The teacher looked embarrassed. He glanced at Phuong Phi Vu, then turned to me with a soft voice, "With your grades, you can get into any top university in the country." I cut him off. Didn't the school say the top scorer in the joint exam would be given priority for the recommendation? He frowned. "That was just a general rule. You don't really need this offer anyway." "I do. When I started high school, I made a deal with my father. If I got a guaranteed spot, I wouldn't have to study finance and could pursue music instead." I looked back at the teacher. "Over the past 3 years, I've won a national award, 5 city-level prizes, and 16 school-level honors. I've always ranked first in every exam. Yet you still gave it to her?" The teacher broke into a cold sweat, lips twitching as if trying to find words. Phuong Phi Vu rolled her eyes at me and sneered, "What's your problem? It's just a recommendation. If I wanted to, I could ruin your life." I ignored her and looked steadily at the teacher until he finally lost patience. "These rules are just formalities. The decision is made. Even if you score a few more points, it won't change anything." I nodded, looked away, and walked out of the room. As I stepped out of the office, I heard Phuong Phi Vu call after me, "Luke Tien Tien, some people are just born lucky. Others? Born to be beasts of burden. If you want someone to blame, blame your dad for being a nobody." I took out my phone and called my beast of burden father. He didn't answer, but moments later, he sent me a WeChat message, "I just arrived at the US Embassy." "What's up, sweetie?" I burst out laughing. "Nothing. Just someone calling us livestock, that's all." Dad transferred me 500,000 yuan immediately, followed by a message, "Studying's hard. Here's a little something to treat yourself. I have a meeting now, but when I return, I'll bring you some local specialties." The school bell rang. As I entered the classroom, Phuong Phi Vu's exaggerated laugh echoed across the room. "Oh please, it's just a guaranteed spot, not like she's that amazing." Her friends, standing around her, raised their eyebrows at me. "Well, she is amazing," one of them said. "It's something some people would kill for and still never get." "True," another chimed in, "so what if she has good grades?" She still couldn't beat Phi Vu. I sat down, pretending not to hear any of it. After class, when the homeroom teacher called me, I walked right past him, pretending he didn't exist. He grabbed my arm, clearly displeased. There's a citywide physics competition next Friday. You'll represent our school, he said. It's important for the school's reputation. Use this week to review. If you have questions, see the physics teacher. His voice wasn't loud, but it was loud enough for everyone in class to hear. I looked at him coldly and replied even louder, I'm not going. His words got stuck in his throat. Behind his glasses, his eyes widened as if he'd just witnessed a zombie rise from the grave. Not only him, but all the students around us were stunned. Did Luke Tian lose her mind? She used to love competitions like this. She'd show up at anything remotely prestigious. What's going on now? I get it, someone whispered. She didn't get the guaranteed spot. So she's throwing a tantrum. Yeah, right. Who does she think she is? Like she can threaten the teacher or something. The teacher regained his composure, frowning. This competition only allows one participant per school. If you don't go, who will? Whoever wants to can go, I replied, leaning against the wall. Luke Tian, this isn't just about you, it's about bringing honor to our school. I looked up. And who cares? His fingers trembled in fury. I've always prioritized you in competitions. I've given you so many chances. Is this how you repay me? I couldn't hold back anymore. I clapped slowly, sarcastically. Right then, Huang Fai Vu strutted over proudly. Teacher, if she's not going, I will, she said. I only lost 5 points on the last physics test. I practice at home all the time. I'll do fine. The teacher nodded approvingly. That's my girl, Fai Vu. I knew I was right about you. Then he threw me a cold glance. Ungrateful brat. After he left, Huang Fai Vu gave me another smug look. I stared back at her calmly. What's with that look? She sneered. You think you're better than me? Before I could speak, she chuckled coldly. Don't think you're some big shot. It's just a physics competition. I'll make sure I rank higher than you. Since I wasn't competing, I had a rare free weekend. I went home. In the living room, my sister-in-law was holding her baby. When she saw me, she looked surprised. Tian? Aren't you supposed to be preparing for the competition? I shook my head. Wait, how do you even know about it? There's a citywide physics competition tomorrow. I've been invited to be one of the proctors, she explained. Then a thought struck her. Since you're home, want to come with me? What for? You could try the test questions. I heard they're using a new format this time, supposed to be really challenging. That piqued my interest. Aside from music, the one thing I genuinely enjoyed was solving difficult problems. That feeling of breaking through confusion, it was intoxicating, so the next day, I accompanied her to the test site. Once the competition began, she let me into a staff room to try the paper on my own. Near the end of the exam, she barged in, clearly angry, and tossed the keys onto the table. My train of thought broke. I looked up. What happened? Nothing major, she said, tossing her hair. Just caught a girl cheating. What did you do about it? I asked. Nothing yet. I didn't want to disturb the others, so I just wrote down her ID number. I'll report it later. She grabbed my answer sheet. Done already? Almost. Great. I need to go to a meeting later anyway. I'll drop this off with the grading committee. If you get bored, feel free to head home. As I walked out of the testing center, I bumped into none other than Huang Fai Vu and the homeroom teacher, who had come personally to escort her. Her little crew of sycophants was waiting outside, nearly blocking the entire school gate. As soon as they spotted me, they swarmed like dogs sniffing out a bone. Luke Tian. What are you doing here? I knew it. You said you weren't entering the competition, but deep down, you're full of regret. Totally. First prize is 10,000 yuan. That's enough to feed a poor girl like you for months. The homeroom teacher didn't stop them, instead, he joined in. I gave you a chance, and you threw it away. Now what? Trailing behind like a lost dog? I narrowed my eyes. Trailing her? Huang Faivu sneered. Then how else do you know this is the test site? Me, how is that any of your business? She snapped, I'm giving you a chance to save face, and this is how you act? Me, scram. One of her flunkies quickly tried to smooth things over. Don't stoop to her level, Faivu. She's just jealous of you. I glanced at her coolly. You too. Scram. Just as things were about to escalate, the homeroom teacher finally spoke up. Enough. Let's not talk about this anymore. Faivu, how did you do on the test? Her furious expression instantly changed to one of smug pride. I did great. The paper was easy. I breezed through it. First prize is as good as mine. Her cronies chimed in theatrically. Oh. We knew you'd ace it, Faivu. The teacher nearly floated with joy. Even Luke Tien, the top of our class, couldn't guarantee winning this one. Your confidence makes me so proud. Faivu beamed. Please, how could Luke Tien compare to me? She paused, then added with a smirk, she's just someone I've already beaten. I sighed, turned, and walked away. Behind me, her voice rang louder, running off so fast. Luke Tien? Weren't you tough just a moment ago? I chuckled. I don't beg. I don't compete. And I don't let livestock make me angry. I had no idea what she told her father, the vice principal, when she got home. But come Monday morning, during the flag-raising ceremony, he personally stepped up to the microphone, full of pride. Student Huang Faivu of Class 12A has achieved an excellent result in the recent citywide physics competition. Let's give her a warm round of applause in advance. The entire school erupted into thunderous clapping. Taking the opportunity, he then called me out in front of everyone. On the other hand, he said, voice heavy with disdain, there are students in our school who act self-righteous, think they're above the rest, and put personal emotions above the honor of the school. Shameful behavior that must be corrected. He hadn't even finished his sentence when a black car pulled up outside the school gate. 3 men in suits stepped into the courtyard. The homeroom teacher's eyes lit up instantly as he whispered to the vice principal, they're members of the physics competition supervisory committee. Hearing this, Huang Lam, the vice principal and Huang Faivu's father, immediately lowered the microphone and put on his most polite smile, stepping forward to greet them. Ah, so it's the officials from the city. What an honor it is to have you visit our school. The 3 men calmly shook his hand. The one in front spoke, we're members of the organizing committee for the city's physics competition. We've come today to find someone. His mic was still on, so their voices faintly echoed into the crowd of students. For some reason, or perhaps intentionally, his words made Huang Lam's face turn red with excitement. You're looking for someone? It must be Faivu. He said loudly into the microphone. Faivu, come here. With her head held high, Huang Faivu walked up proudly, basking in the attention of the entire school. As she passed me, she even scoffed under her breath. Once the men confirmed her identity, they finally spoke. We've reached a conclusion regarding the results of the physics competition. Student Huang Faivu. They hadn't even finished speaking when Huang Lam, unable to contain his excitement, cut them off. I knew it. You've come here personally to congratulate her, haven't you? Thank you for going to the trouble. We all expected this. Faivu has always been a bright, exceptional girl. The committee members looked increasingly confused. Finally, one of them interrupted him. Please let us finish. Yes, of course. Go ahead, Huang Lam said, chuckling awkwardly. The lead man pulled out a piece of paper and announced in a firm tone, after careful review, the supervisory committee has decided to invalidate Huang Faivu's competition results due to academic dishonesty. She will be publicly criticized and her violation will be reported across the entire city. Huang Lam's eyes widened in disbelief. Impossible. My daughter would never cheat. The committee's expressions darkened. The man folded the disciplinary report and put it away. This is a final decision. If you have objections, you may file an appeal with the City Education Bureau. But everyone knew, once a decision like this was made and delivered in person, there was almost no chance of reversal. They turned to leave, but Phuong Lam, face now cycling from white to red, rushed forward to block their way. What exactly happened? There were 2 proctors in the room. For security cameras. If she really cheated, why wasn't she caught on the spot? Why now? The officials exchanged glances, then looked at Phuong Phi Vu. Well, one said slowly, you'd have to ask your daughter. She's quite crafty for her age. Hid a signal receiver inside her hair and earrings. If only she had used that intelligence for something worthwhile. Phuong Lam turned to her, stunned. A signal receiver? Over 2,000 pairs of eyes turned toward Phuong Phi Vu in unison. What was supposed to be a moment of glory had turned into a judgment scene. Her face turned ghostly pale. I don't know what signal receiver you're talking about. Don't lie, one of the men said sharply. We have all the evidence. The case has already been turned over to the police. You'd better come with us to the station. At the mention of the police, Phuong Phi Vu finally broke. With a thud, she dropped to her knees in front of her father. Dad. It wasn't me. It was my friend's idea. I didn't mean to, please. Phuong Lam clenched his jaw, his rage palpable. But with so many eyes on him, he could only growl, go back to class. She lowered her head and stumbled away. From the crowd of teachers, one who had always had a rocky relationship with my homeroom teacher muttered sarcastically, I thought that golden student of yours was going to bring more glory to the school. What a joke. That moment, I had to think of my late Uncle Ba and my grandma, both gone nearly a decade, just to stop myself from laughing out loud. After the ceremony, Phuong Phi Vu was taken away by her father. She never returned to class. By noon, the school had officially announced the punishment. She was suspended indefinitely, pending investigation. She wouldn't be returning anytime soon. Even the homeroom teacher, who had personally escorted her to the competition, was punished. His bonus for the semester was revoked. That afternoon, he stormed into the classroom, furious, and started ranting like a madman. What a disaster. Everything was fine until someone had to stir things up. Why do I have to suffer for someone else's mistake? The students sitting in the front rows didn't dare breathe. As for me, I casually laid my uniform down, used it as a cushion, and leaned back with my arms crossed. I agree with you, sir, I said flatly. If only you hadn't switched the candidate. He meant the physics competition. I was talking about the guaranteed university spot. Realizing this, the teacher's face twisted into a darker shade. He pointed at me and yelled, I was speaking, and you interrupted? Luke Tien, I thought you were a good student, but turns out you're nothing but a stubborn troublemaker. Get out. I grabbed my jacket, stood up, and left the classroom. The door slammed shut behind me. 3 minutes later, someone knocked on the door again. The teacher tried to compose himself. What now? I stepped aside and revealed a handsome boy standing beside me. Someone's here to see you. The moment the teacher saw who it was, his expression flipped from fury to flattery. Ta Tuong Lo? What brings you here? As soon as that name left his lips, the entire class went into a frenzy. Oh my God, is that the Ta Tuong Lu from Tam Trung next door? It is. It's really him. He even performed on the National Spring Gala last year. Good background, perfect looks, he was basically a teen idol. Ta Tuong Lu stood calmly at the door and spoke with utmost politeness. Hello, sir. I'm here to speak with one of your students. The homeroom teacher beamed, practically springtime personified. Oh? Who is it? Who in our humble class deserves a visit from someone like you? I leaned against the wall and listened quietly as Ta Tuong Lu said, Luke Tien. The teacher's smile froze. I, on the other hand, looked at him with a slight frown. 5 seconds passed in complete silence before Ta Tuong Lu continued. I heard she's in your class. May I speak with her outside? The teacher and I locked eyes. His were filled with disbelief and shame. Finally, he looked away, twitching. What do you need from her? Did she do something wrong? No, not at all, Ta Tuong Lu said, puzzled. He paused, then pulled out a test paper from his bag. I just wanted to ask her how she solved the final physics problem. The teacher grabbed the paper and squinted at it. What test is this? The citywide physics competition, Ta Tuong Lu replied. The teacher blinked. You must be mistaken. Luke Tien Tien didn't take part in that exam. How would she know how to solve it? Ta Tuong Lu frowned, clearly annoyed. I'm not mistaken. I copied this solution from her. That last question was incredibly difficult, only she solved it. I'm certain of it. Then he glanced at the teacher. Puzzled. Isn't Luke Tien Tien in your class? The sheer weight of what Ta Tuong Lu had just revealed left the homeroom teacher completely dumbfounded. Of course, he couldn't understand how I had gotten hold of the exam paper. Reflexively, he answered, Of course she's in my class. Then where is she? He looked at me again, lips twitching helplessly. I walked over, tapped Ta Tuong Lu on the shoulder. Looking for me? His calm expression shifted for the first time as he studied me head to toe. You're Luke Tien Tien? Yep. What are you doing out here? I gave a sarcastic smile. Getting punished. Can't you tell? The two of us squatted in the corner outside the classroom. I explained my reasoning behind the physics problem. No matter how many times the teacher called for him to come sit inside, Ta Tuong Lu refused. If Luke Tien Tien can sit here, so can I, he said pointedly. The teacher turned purple with rage. Just before the final bell rang, I finished my explanation. Ta Tuong Lu asked for my contact info. There's a joint exam between our 7 schools coming up. Want to study together? I scribbled my number. He put it away carefully, then asked, almost meaningfully, Seems like your teacher doesn't like you very much. I raised a brow and asked, That obvious? He didn't answer, just smiled faintly. Nothing. See you again. Back then, I still didn't understand what Ta Tuong Lu meant. But 2 weeks later, standing in the auditorium, I finally understood the meaning behind that see you again. There were 7 elite high schools in the city. Every year, they would hold a joint exam before the National University Entrance Exam. And before the joint exam, to boost morale, a seminar was held for the top 100 students from each school. This year, the seminar was hosted by our school. Each school would select one outstanding student to speak on their behalf. Tam Trung chose Ta Tuong Lu. As for our school, I looked up at the pot-bellied dean in front of me. Struggling to comb over the hair on both sides to the center of his shiny scalp, he spoke calmly, You're the representative for the speech. The teachers didn't tell me anything in advance. The balding dean's eyes darted nervously. Things have been hectic lately. Your homeroom teacher must have forgotten to tell you. Please be understanding. Besides, all you need to do is go on stage and share your learning experience. It's not a big deal for someone like you. I crossed my arms and glanced toward my homeroom teacher, who was sneakily looking my way. My mind was clear as a mirror. They probably planned to let Phuong Phi Vu give the speech, but after her cheating scandal, she wasn't a good representative anymore, so now, they were relying on me as a last-minute replacement. I refused without blinking, I'm not going. The dean lost his patience. Stop acting like a child. Your teacher already told me what happened between you two. Compared to the honor of the school, it's really not a big deal. Giving this speech would bring glory to you too. Do you know how many students would kill for this opportunity? I don't know. Maybe you should let one of them go then. He froze. His gaze grew more hostile. I'm telling you to go, so you go. Bringing glory to the school is your duty. Don't be ungrateful. Before I could respond, he stormed off to answer a call, glaring at me as if daring me to defy him. No problem, I casually left the auditorium, found a quiet spot, and played games on my phone. Half an hour later, a panicked classmate came rushing over. Luke Tien. The teachers are losing it looking for you. Hurry back. To avoid getting him in trouble, I dragged myself back. The moment I stepped into the auditorium, both the dean and my homeroom teacher yelled at me in unison, "Where have you been?" I ignored them and tried to return to my seat, but the dean grabbed my arm. Hurry. It's only 5 minutes before our school's turn. Get ready backstage now. I stayed rooted like a statue. I scratched my ear. What did you say? He snapped, "Go up and give the speech." I raised my voice, matching his tone. What speech? The speech is our school's representative. Representative? I acted confused. He gritted his teeth and warned, "Luke Tien, don't force me. Don't drink the toast only to end up drinking the penalty." I looked serious now, my tone icy, but isn't drinking forbidden on school grounds? He inhaled deeply. What will it take for you to agree to this? I smiled faintly, eyes flicking between him and my green-faced homeroom teacher. Finally, he muttered through clenched teeth, "The direct admission offer hasn't been submitted yet. There's still room to negotiate. If you agree, I'll speak to the school on your behalf." My homeroom teacher gave me a look as if he were tossing scraps to a beggar. Happy now? Can you go on stage? I smiled under pressure, calmly took out my phone, and opened King of Glory. I'm playing Xiao Qiao. The dean couldn't take it anymore. He lunged to snatch my phone but failed. Furious, he jabbed his finger at my nose. Luke Tien. Don't push your luck. You're a student, yet you defy your teachers, goof off, and have no regard for school discipline. Do you want me to write you up twice so you can't graduate? His shouting drew attention. Students nearby began to sense something serious was going on. I went quiet and put away my phone. All right, I said, pretending to give in. You're sure I'll be the one speaking? Of course. Okay then. I brushed off my clothes and walked toward the stage. Then I'll properly thank the school for returning to me what was rightfully mine after making me run in circles for it. And I'll definitely highlight how our school's representative in the physics competition got called out by name by the City Education Committee. I hadn't even taken 2 steps before the dean yanked me back. They stared at me like venomous snakes. Luke Tien, you've got guts. I gave a modest smile, not as gutsy as you two. The dean couldn't bother arguing with me anymore. He turned toward the seminar coordinator and barked, "Switch our school's turn to speak to the very end." Has there ever been a year where Not Trung wasn't the first to present? After the seminar ended, I was invited by the principal to have tea in his well-air-conditioned office. The bald principal greeted me with a friendly smile. "Have a seat." I didn't sit. I assume this is about what happened at the seminar? He smiled faintly. Yes, but not entirely. His words were polite, but his eyes weren't. The school was indeed at fault for the direct admission slot, but you were too aggressive. A smart student would never choose to go head-to-head with the school. That line might scare some kids, but not me. My dad is the boss of the principal's boss. I've been trained under his strictness since I was little. My heart's been forged like a diamond, unbreakable. Seeing I wasn't rattled, only growing more impatient, the principal's gaze darkened. Finally, he got to the point. If we talk about mistakes, then let's say we're even. If you can take first place in the upcoming 7-school joint exam and bring honor to our school, the direct admission slot will absolutely be yours. I replied with a non-committal and if I don't get first? He smiled, I know your capability well. Even Ta Tuong Lu has to ask you for help. Of course, if something unexpected happens, we'll consider multiple factors in our evaluation. Don't worry. Just do your best. So first it was threats, then bribes, now a few sweet words. I couldn't help but clap my hands. Oh, don't worry. I'll do my absolute best. The principal seemed pleased and personally saw me out that afternoon. After class, I pushed open the office door again. The principal smiled at me. Is something wrong? I bent down and picked up a pen from under his desk. Oops, I dropped my pen. He watched me leave and reminded, be more careful next time. The 7-school exam is a major citywide event, not just an academic test, but also a silent battleground between schools. The test site was at Ngutrung. Although seat numbers were randomized, the top students from each school were already well known to the teachers. So the moment I entered the exam hall, the invigilator gave me a warm, welcoming glance. According to rules, students could submit their papers up to 30 minutes early. While others were still racing against time, pens flying across the page, I calmly raised my hand. The invigilator blinked in surprise, then joyfully gestured, "Do you want to check it again?" I shook my head. He looked even more impressed, so confident. So composed. So decisive. He walked over, smiling, and glanced at my paper. 1 second later, huh? He paused. Wait, what? Blank. Completely blank, he flipped through it again and again. It was indeed 6 full pages of blank paper. Panic rippled through the exam supervisors. 2 days later, the results came out. Not Trung was shaken to its core. From the top 100 rankings, start to finish, no one could find Luke Tien's name. A classmate who was usually dead last stared at their own score and said in confusion, I only got 6 answers right. And I'm second from the bottom. So who's the one who actually beat me? In the school office, the principal slammed the test papers on the table. Luke Tien. Blank? You handed in a blank paper? Are you crazy? When he first saw the score, he thought the grading machine had malfunctioned. Panicked, he had someone retrieve my paper for review, but the truth was 0 points. I responded calmly, I'm not crazy. His finger jabbed at my face. Then what were you thinking? This was the city's 7-school exam. Do you still want to go to college? I laughed. This was a competition between schools, not the university entrance exam. What does handing in a blank paper have to do with me going to college? He clutched his chest like he was about to have a heart attack. Because of your blank paper, our school didn't place a single student in the city's top 10. And you still dare talk back? Oh. So I'm wrong? Of course you're wrong. Then tell me, what exactly did I do wrong? He opened his mouth to scold me again, but I interrupted. I've ranked first repeatedly, worked my butt off for that direct admission. You didn't say a word and gave it to someone else. Then turned around and scolded me for not being generous enough? If grades don't matter, then how many points I get is my own business. Even if I submit a blank paper, I'm not ashamed. Why are you so mad? Did I break the rules? Or are you just angry that I didn't obey? The principal's face shifted from red to green. He trembled from head to toe. You, get out. Get out now. I nodded, I can leave. But if you ask me to come back. His glare was murderous. No way. Our school will never allow an arrogant, disobedient student like you to stay. I'll expel you and make sure you're disqualified from taking the college entrance exam. I sneered, then do it. Be quick. Who even wants to go to your school anyway? His hands shook as he stamped the expulsion papers, cursing, even if your scores are good, what school would accept someone expelled by not Trung? With your background, you think you'll ever step foot in the school again? He didn't know. When I entered high school, I made a pact with my dad, I'd succeed without relying on him. That's why I never revealed my background. He stamped and signed the expulsion letter and threw it in my face. Get out. I calmly picked it up, dusted it off, and left smoothly. At first, I hadn't planned to make things explode like this. Honestly, I could have still handled the biggest problem just fine on my own. I'd just have to register and take the college entrance exam as an independent candidate. But the next day, my older brother and sister-in-law came to me with a solemn expression and laid a document in front of me. Tien, my brother said. What's going on here? I picked it up. My eyes darkened. It was a formal request for disciplinary action, short and to the point. I was being accused of cheating in the citywide 7-school joint exam, and the person who reported me, clearly, was none other than my school principal. Cheating in the physics competition could be swept under the rug with a few connections, since it didn't directly affect broader interests, but the 7-school joint exam? That was a whole different level. If things escalated, I could be banned from taking the national college entrance exam altogether. If I were just some student with no background or support, I'd have no way to appeal, my entire future would be ruined. My brother understood the seriousness too and quickly added, "Don't worry, Tien. I'll handle this. You just focus on preparing for the college entrance exam." With less than a month left until the big exam, I thought for a moment and said softly, "All right. But I guess my deal with Dad can't be honored anymore." "That's fine." He smiled reassuringly. "I'll arrange for you to transfer into Tam Trung for now." "Okay." And so, 1 month later, I sat for the national college entrance exam as a student of Tam Trung. 2 weeks after that, the results came out. I scored 731 points, taking first place in the entire city. In the principal's office at Not Trung, all the teachers stared wide-eyed at the rankings. They couldn't believe it. "Wait, who's ranked first again? Luke Tien?" The principal stared at the screen, his face red with fury and envy. "She transferred to Tam Trung? I told you all to destroy her. How did it come to this? Why should Tam Trung get the glory?" The discipline head broke into a cold sweat. "We followed your instructions exactly." "We really did." As news of my top score spread online, rumors began to follow. Luke Tien? Wasn't she a student from Not Trung who got expelled for poor conduct? Right? She transferred to Tam Trung. Heard she cheated on the joint exam and got 0. Are you serious? No way her college entrance exam scores are legit then. But no matter what was being said online, Tam Trung stood by me. When their principal was interviewed, his face was glowing with joy. How could we not be thrilled to have the top scorer in the college entrance exam? What? She used to be a student at Not Trung? So what? She's now officially registered with us. She brought honor to Tam Trung. A reporter pressed him. So? Did she transfer because she was expelled for misconduct? Or did Tam Trung lure her away? The principal laughed and waved it off. Oh, come on. You can't believe every rumor online. A brilliant student like Luke Tien choosing Tam Trung at such a crucial moment, that's our honor. Some people are just bitter they couldn't keep her. Don't be jealous. Meanwhile, the principal at Not Trung was grinding his teeth as he watched the Tam Trung principal beam proudly. He fumed. How did this happen? Why her? Why Tam Trung? He was just about to send someone to dig for information when an official notice arrived. The chairman of the education board would attend the upcoming graduation ceremony and had personally requested to meet Luke Tien. The principal turned pale. What? Why her? She's a student at Tam Trung now. How am I supposed to get her to attend our graduation ceremony? The discipline head, drenched in sweat, stammered, "Maybe we should try contacting her? She did spend 3 years here at Not Trung. Surely she wouldn't completely turn her back on us. You want me to bow my head to that damn girl? But the chairman." He clenched his jaw and shut his eyes in agony. Call her. At that moment, I was leisurely peeling a pomegranate my dad brought back from the US. When I got the call, I glanced at the screen and casually answered. "Sure," I said. The discipline head on the other end was stunned. You're really coming?" I chuckled. Should I have said no? Of course not. "Thank you, Ms. Luke. See you at the ceremony." The graduation was held in the city's largest auditorium, with space for over 3,000 attendees. As soon as I arrived at the entrance, I was greeted by a group of school leaders glaring at me. The principal forced a smile. "Luke Tien. You're something else." I smiled back sweetly. "Oh, you have no idea just how something else I can be." They didn't understand what I meant. Not yet. They didn't understand what I meant. Not until the graduation ceremony officially began. The moment the spotlight lit up the stage, my father walked up, not just as a parent, but as the chairman of the education board. Under the stunned eyes of all the school leaders, I walked toward him slowly. "Dad, step aside," I said. "Let me speak." 3 seconds passed, then, chaos erupted in the auditorium. What the hell? Director Luke is her father? That Director Luke we've all been trying to please. Is her dad? My father laughed heartily, handed me the microphone, then turned toward the audience with a sly grin. Would it be all right if the top scorer in this year's college entrance exam said a few words? Who would dare say no? I stood calmly on stage, pulled a voice recorder from my pocket, and held it up to the mic. The auditorium fell silent. A voice crackled through the speakers. "She agreed, sir." And then, the unmistakably smug voice of the not-trung principal followed. "You think I can't handle one little brat? No, no. You're the best, principal." That girl, Luke Tien, seemed obedient at first, but she turned out to be a real pain. TCH. She's just mad she didn't get the direct admission spot and wants to make noise to feel important. Nothing to worry about. What? You really want to give her that spot? Don't forget, Phuong Lam gave us quite a few benefits for that one. Relax. Just sweet-talk her into working hard for the joint exam. Once she gets a good score, we'll come up with an excuse to cut her off. What if she gets angry? What can she do? There's only a month left before college entrance exams. She's not going to skip that over some tantrum. And anyway, I looked into her, just some nobody with no background. What can her parents do? Stir up some noise? Just a bunch of ants. You think I'm afraid of a few ants? The entire auditorium echoed with that last line, 3 times. A few school staff members on stage turned ashen, trembling with fear. The principal's face twisted in rage and panic. You're recording people without permission? That's illegal. He shouted, his voice cracking, but as he turned toward my father's cold, composed face, the fire in his eyes quickly died out. He knew he was no match for my father. My dad raised an eyebrow. "Ants, you said?" "No, Director Luke, I didn't mean that." "Then tell me, this recording, was it fake? Was my daughter lying? Was it my daughter who insulted you?" He had no words. The fact that my dad had just openly called me his daughter in front of everyone made the entire room go silent. My father's voice was calm, but powerful. "My daughter never once used our family's influence in her 3 years at this school. Every achievement she earned, she fought for herself. You don't think she deserves a direct admission spot?" The principal stammered, "And no. Of course she does. We were going to give it to her anyway." "Oh." My father's tone sharpened. "So if she weren't my daughter, you'd still give it to her?" Silence. Shame. I couldn't help but mentally give my father a thumbs up. What a legendary takedown. The school leaders, now trembling and pitiful, could only stare at their shoes. They knew they'd messed up badly. Why did we have to provoke her? She was just a kid. Couldn't we have just let this one go? But alas, there's no medicine for regret. Many journalists had been invited to the graduation ceremony. The moment that recording played, paired with the rumors that had been circling online about me, the full truth came out. Public opinion exploded. So Luke Tien was actually the victim this whole time? I thought she was some ungrateful brat, but the school's the one that tried to destroy her. Gross. These schools are disgusting. If my kid got treated like that, how would I ever fight for justice? Thank God she has a powerful family. If she didn't, her life would have been ruined. Please, someone punish these people. They shouldn't be allowed near education. The situation had gone too far for me to need to act further, so while the system did its job, I sat in the air-conditioned living room, eating watermelon. My sister-in-law would drop by daily, excited to update me. They had formed an investigation team. First target, the illegal direct admission. Phuong Phi Vu's diploma was revoked. He was banned from taking any exams for 3 years. School officials lost their jobs. Justice was served. Finally, just before university started, the court's verdict came down. we all sighed in relief, and with things settled, my dad finally had time to deal with me. He sat me down, looked stern, and asked, "What major did you put down?" I cleared my throat. Finance? Dad narrowed his eyes. Really? I shrank back. Music. He raised an eyebrow. I panicked and threw a pleading glance at my brother. He coughed. Dad, it's okay. I'm in business, let her chase her dreams. Shut up. Dad's tone was calm, but powerful. He turned back to me. 3 years ago, what did you promise me when you started high school? I haven't forgotten. The air froze. After a while, I gathered my courage, but Dad, I did everything I promised. I kept my end of the deal. If you're mad, I can double major, music and financial management. Before I could finish, Dad suddenly raised his hand. I instinctively dodged. But he simply placed his palm on my head and patted it gently. All your effort and endurance over these past 3 years, I saw it all, he said quietly. If you can fight this hard to pursue your dreams, then no matter what field you're in, you'll never fail. There was a glimmer of tears in his eyes. My little girl's grown up. You're strong enough to carry the world now. I'm proud of you. My eyes sparkled with hope. Then that means. Yes. Go chase your dream. Whatever it is, go for it. The whole family let out a breath of relief. And in my heart, I wished that one day, I could become the kind of musician who lives up to this dream. Thank you for listening to this story on MoonWhisper. If you enjoyed it, please give MoonWhisper a like and a follow. It really helps us create more beautiful stories like this. Much love to you all. Dizzy.